My child, this message has reached you at a moment that is not random, not accidental, but perfectly aligned with something quietly unfolding within you, and even if you cannot yet name it, you have felt it, that subtle shift beneath your thoughts, that quiet heaviness that rest does not seem to ease, that sense that something is changing even though nothing around you looks different, and I want you to know that I see you in this moment. I see the way you have been holding everything together. The way you keep showing up even when your heart feels tired, the way you question whether your waiting has meant anything at all, and I tell you now, your waiting has not been empty, it has been preparation, because what you thought was a delay was actually a forming, a shaping of your strength in ways you could not yet understand, and that feeling you have, that almost breaking point, is not the end of you. It is the edge of something new beginning to take form, and I am with you in it. Closer than you realize, guiding you through the moments you thought you were alone, even in the small things, like the quiet nights when your mind would not settle, or the long days where you kept going without recognition. I was there, holding what you could not carry, and now something within you is starting to awaken, not loudly, not all at once, but gently, like light beginning to touch a dark room. And you may have wondered why certain things felt harder lately, why your patience felt thinner, why your emotions seemed closer to the surface, but this is not weakness, this is awareness rising, this is your spirit recognizing that something is shifting, and I am asking you now to pause, just for a moment, and breathe, not because everything is perfect, but because you are still here, still moving forward, still capable of receiving what is meant for you, and there is a reason you are hearing these words right now. A reason this message found you in the middle of everything else, competing for your attention, because not everything that calls for you is meant for you, and not everything you have lost was meant to stay, and I am gently leading you away from what drains you and toward what restores you, even if it feels unfamiliar at first, even if it asks you to let go of what you thought you needed, and I know that can feel uncomfortable, like stepping into something uncertain, but you are not stepping alone, and what is ahead of you is not something you need to force, it is something you are being prepared to receive, and as you continue listening, you will begin to recognize the signs you almost overlooked, the quiet confirmations that have been around you, waiting for you to notice them, because the next part of this message carries something you have been searching for, even if you did not realize it yet, my child. I know that part of you is still wondering if this is real, if what you are feeling is truly something meaningful or just another passing moment, and that uncertainty has followed you for a while now, showing up in the quiet spaces of your day, when you pause between tasks or sit alone with your thoughts, questioning whether you are moving in the right direction or simply standing still. And I want you to understand that this questioning does not mean you are lost, it means you are becoming aware, because awareness often feels like confusion before it becomes clarity, and I have been gently guiding you through this process, even when it felt like nothing was happening, even when you thought your efforts were unnoticed or your prayers unheard. I was there in every step, shaping your path in ways you could not yet see, and those moments when things did not work out the way you expected, when plans changed or people drifted away, they were not signs of failure, they were redirections, subtle adjustments leading you towards something that aligns more deeply with who you are becoming, and I know it has not been easy to trust that, especially when your heart was hoping for something different, when you gave your time, your energy, your care, and did not always receive the same in return, but even in those experiences, something within you was growing stronger, more grounded, more aware of what truly matters, and that is why you are here now, hearing this, because you have reached a point where you are ready to see things differently. Ready to recognize that your journey has not been random or wasted, but intentionally shaped, piece by piece, moment by moment, and there is something important you may have almost overlooked, something small yet meaningful, like a feeling you brushed aside, a thought that returned more than once, or a quiet sense that you needed to slow down but kept pushing forward instead, and these are the signs I have been placing in your path, not to overwhelm you, but to guide you gently, to remind you that you are not alone in making decisions, that you do not have to carry everything by yourself, and right now, I am inviting you to simply notice, to pay attention to what has been repeating in your life, not with fear or pressure, but with curiosity and openness, because within those patterns is a message meant for you, something that will help you understand what needs to be released and what is ready to grow. And as you continue to listen, you will begin to see how even the smallest shifts in your awareness can lead to meaningful change, because the next realization is one that connects everything you have been feeling with where you are being led, and it is closer than you think, my child, as you begin to notice these patterns, I want you to gently look back over the past days and weeks, not with judgment, but with quiet awareness, because there have been moments that carried more meaning than you realized at the time. Small pauses where something inside you whispered to slow down, subtle shifts in your plans that did not make sense then but feel different now as you reflect, and even the way certain conversations lingered in your mind longer than others. These were not random details, they were gentle signals placed along your path, inviting you to pay attention. And I know it is easy to dismiss these things, to tell yourself they are coincidences or overthinking, especially when life feels busy and full, but I am asking you now to consider that your awareness is growing, that you are beginning to see what was always there, just beneath the surface, and that feeling you had when something did not sit right, or when something unexpectedly felt right even if you could not explain it, that was part of your inner guidance waking up, and I have been present in those moments, not forcing, not interrupting, but quietly aligning things so that you could begin to notice. And perhaps you remember a time recently when you felt drawn to step back, to take a breath instead of reacting quickly, or when you felt a nudge to reach out to someone or to let something go. And even if you did not fully understand why, those were meaningful steps, not because they changed everything at once, but because they shifted something within you, and that inner shift is where real change begins, not outside, but inside, where your perspective starts to open and your heart begins to soften toward yourself. And I want you to see that you have already been responding, even in small ways, even when you thought you were just getting through the day, you have been moving forward, and that matters more than you think. Because growth does not always feel like progress, sometimes it feels like uncertainty, like questioning, like not having all the answers yet, and that is where you are right now, in a space between what was and what is becoming, and it is okay to be here. You do not need to rush out of it, you do not need to have everything figured out, you only need to stay present and aware, noticing what continues to show up in your life, the themes, the feelings, the quiet repetitions, because they are guiding you toward a deeper understanding of what needs your attention and what is ready to be released. And as you continue to listen, you will begin to connect these signs in a new way, seeing how they form a path rather than scattered moments, and that realization will help you understand not only where you have been, but where you are being gently led next. My child, there is something deeper I need you to see now, something that may change the way you understand everything you have been through, because what you once called loss was not taken from you to leave you empty, it was gently removed to make space for something that could truly hold you. And I know there were moments when it felt like something slipped through your hands, like something you cared about did not stay the way you hoped, and you questioned what you did wrong or why it had to happen that way. But I was there in that moment, not turning away from you, but protecting you from what you could not yet see, because not everything that feels good is meant to remain, and not everything that leaves is a failure. Sometimes it is a quiet form of care, guiding you away from what would have drained you over time. And I know it did not feel like protection then, it felt like disappointment, like confusion, like standing in a space where nothing made sense. But now you are beginning to understand that there was a purpose beneath it, a reason that could only be seen once you stepped beyond it. And in the same way, what you thought was delay was never meant to hold you back, it was preparing you, shaping your patience, strengthening your awareness, teaching you to stand without needing constant reassurance. And those times when you wondered why things were not moving, why doors did not open when you expected them to, those were moments where something inside you was being aligned, where your timing was being adjusted so that when the right opportunity comes, you are ready to receive it fully, not just quickly. And even the silence you felt, the times when you reached out in your own way and did not feel an immediate response, that silence was not absence, it was an invitation into stillness, a space where you could begin to hear more clearly, not through noise or urgency, but through calm awareness. And I know silence can feel uncomfortable at first, like something is missing, but within it, there is a kind of peace that does not depend on circumstances, a steady presence that remains even when everything else feels uncertain. And that is what you are being invited into now, not a place where everything is explained, but a place where you can trust even without full understanding. And as this realization settles into you, you may begin to feel a shift, not outside, but within, a softening, a release of the need to control every outcome, a quiet acceptance that you have been guided all along, even through the parts that felt unclear. And this is where something important begins to change, because when you see your past differently, you begin to move forward differently. And as you continue, there is another layer of understanding waiting for you, one that will help you see not only why things happened, but how they are leading you into what is next, my child. I know there have been moments recently that quietly tested your faith in ways no one else could see. Moments that seemed small on the outside but felt heavy within you, like waiting for a call that never came, checking your phone more than once hoping for a message that stayed absent, or standing in front of an opportunity you thought would open only to find the door still closed, and in those moments it was easy to wonder if you were being overlooked, if something had gone unnoticed about your effort, your heart, your intentions, and I saw every one of those moments. I saw the way your spirit reacted even when you tried to stay strong, and I want you to understand that being unseen by others does not mean you are unseen by me, because I have been present in every detail, even in the silence of a quiet evening when you felt alone, when the world seemed to move on without you, when it felt like everyone else had somewhere to be and you were left in stillness, and that stillness was not a sign that you were forgotten, it was a space where I was closer than you realized, holding you in a way that did not need noise or distraction. And I know there have been relationships that feel different now, conversations that are not as frequent, connections that once felt steady now shifting in ways you did not expect, and that can bring a sense of loss, a question of what changed or what you could have done differently. But not every distance is a rejection, sometimes it is a gentle separation guiding you toward what is more aligned with your growth, and I have been guiding that too, even when it felt uncertain, even when it asked you to sit with feelings you would rather avoid, and there have been moments in your work, in your daily responsibilities, where things did not feel stable, where you questioned if you were in the right place or moving in the right direction, and that uncertainty can feel like standing on unsteady ground, but even there, you have not been abandoned, because I am not only present when things are clear and secure, I am present in the in-between, in the process, in the waiting that stretches longer than expected, and through all of this, you have